And let's discuss this more with politician Paul Hampel from the Eurosceptic Alternative for Germany party. Mr. Hampel, thank you for joining us here on RT. So how can we explain such a warm reception for Mr. Chodorkowski in Germany?
Well, first of all, the people in Germany do know very little about Mr. Chodorkowski. I mean, he was known as an oligarch who had been put on trial in Russia and sent into jail for the last 10 years. That is all. People in Germany don't understand that Mr. Chodorkowski is not a freedom fighter or something like that, that he was a businessman before he was imprisoned. And that's not very much known to the German public. And I would suggest that the German politicians should welcome Mr. Edward Snowden maybe in the same way in Germany, but there is very little the German politicians are doing for this person.
I see. Some human rights groups have called Mikhail Chodorkowski a prisoner of conscience. Do you think he was?
Prisoner of conscience is a big word. Conscience of whom? I don't know that Mr. Chodorkowski had been a member of a liberal or democratic party in Russia. I don't know that he is a human rights activist, that he has been a human rights activist before. So the question is difficult to answer.
What message do you think President Putin was sending to the West by releasing Mikhail Chodorkowski now?
Well, actually, you know, I think that the first message is to the Russian people as well, that the oligarchs have no influence on Russian policy anymore since the last 10 years. And towards the West, it is a sign that Russia is still open for negotiations, is still interested in good connections to the Western world, to the European Union as well as to the United States. And with such a generous pardon, Mr. Putin made his point in Europe and in the rest of the Western world, definitely.
By the way, the Kremlin says that Mikhail Chodorkowski is free to return to Russia anytime soon. Do you think he will follow this piece of advice or this invitation, whatever?
If he is more than a businessman, if he is interested in joining Russian politics, if he wants to establish a party in Russia and being some kind of a freedom fighter, then he should return to Russia.
Western governments, meanwhile, have hailed the release of Mr. Chodorkowski because of pressure from the they actually have hailed the release of Mr. Chodorkowski. Do you think this will help to improve Russia's image abroad?
Russians, please, what?
Russia's image abroad. Will it help to improve Russia's image abroad?
Yes, I got your point. I am not sure. I'm not sure. I think what I said before, you know, that the people in the Western world have forgotten so quickly what has happened after the break of the Soviet Union, the fall of the Soviet Union. I mean, it was in times of Boris Yeltsin, there were the oligarchs which have taken over power and were most influential in Russia until President Putin came. And you know, we are criticizing today the influence of the oligarchs in the Ukraine, for example, but we welcome somebody, a representative of this group, who has been imprisoned in Russia. So I'm not sure if it has healed something. I think that the message is clear that the oligarchs in Russia have no influence on Russian politics and the Western world has to accept it. Maybe we should look in the Western world about the influence of our oligarchs in our politics.
Politician Paul Hampel from the Alternative for Germany party. Mr. Hampel, thank you very much indeed for your time.